Jesus, so sorry. I'm late. Oh my goodness.
No problem. It's good to see you. Thanks for coming. Everybody's here that needs to be here, I think. All right. Well, had a long hiatus, and welcome everybody to the August Natural Resources Committee meeting for City of Oregon City. My name is Pete Walter. I say, let's go around the table and make some introductions. I'd like to introduce Melissa. She's our new assistant planner. You want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
I started about 6 months ago here. I am originally from Central California. I moved to Arizona and worked for Maricopa County for about 3 years prior to moving here. So I was a zoning reviewer at Maricopa County. Yeah, thank you.
I'm Brian. I think I'm on my second go on this committee. I live here in Oregon City. I do marketing for the normal job. Got wife and 2 little boys.
Samantha Wolf. I have no long. I've been on this committee, not terribly long, but my brain is a little present. More one day. But I've been in Oregon City since 2013. And then I might have started like 19 or 20. Do you recall?
I think 2019.
Okay, I was in the ballpark, so that I will take it.
I could be wrong. I just want to remind folks to speak up. These microphones are pretty sensitive, but please do try to project a little.
I'm Emily Lisborn. I live 5 minutes from here. I think this is my 3rd-ish year on this committee. I grow plants for a living.
Willie, been in Oregon City since 2018, and I just joined the committee. This is my 2nd meeting.
Yes.
Nice to meet you.
We're excited to have you. All right, so we have a quorum of 4 committee members who can vote and make decisions. So our agenda tonight starts with public comments, and then we got 3 discussion items after that. This is usually pretty informal, just for the audience to participate and come up to the mic if they want to speak. That's up to the chair to decide. And we'll have some communications. And I think we get out of here around 8:30, but it might, I don't think it'll go any longer than that. So
I just got an email from Dave.
yeah, Dave is not going to make it. He said
Okay.
things have gone awry in the household. Something like that.
That's right. It's got.
All right.
Sorry to evaluate this, but I was going to follow on the agenda on the web, and the password is public network here. Can you tell me that?
Oh, the public network. That's in the conference room. Go grab the Wi-Fi password. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. I'll show the agenda items up on the screen. So, Sam, you want to take us through the agenda?
All right, roll call. Sorry.
I'll read your names off again.
Okay.
Brian Whistler. Present.
Oh, present here.
Sam Wolf.
Here.
Emily Lisborn. William Foster.
Here.
And Dave Trotter is excused, absent. And unfortunately, Monica Stone sent an email yesterday that she can't participate anymore because of her busy life. And I understand I think she's been working as the interim public works director down in Tandy. So it's probably keeping her on her toes, amongst other things. Okay.
Is Dakota still?
And Dakota, sorry, yes. But I don't know where Dakota is today. So, yeah, I didn't get an email from her. Dakota is our secretary, too. Yeah. All right. So public comments are for items not on the agenda. So we have one slip filled out for an item that is on the agenda. That's from Betsy. That's great. Thank you. With that, seeing no further public comment, we can move on to discussion items. So,
Sorry, can I just, what is the public comment that was submitted about the discussion item today?
oh, it's just a comment card.
Oh, I see.
This isn't super formal, but most city commission meetings and planning commission meetings have an opportunity for public comment. And I like that aspect of the agenda and want to keep it. I think that if the public comes and wants to speak to the committee on any item, they should have the opportunity. The point of the comment card is to kind of memorialize that in writing, and we scan them and save them. But if this was a bigger meeting and there were lots of people here, it's a way to make sure everybody's heard as well. So that's what it is. But it doesn't actually have a comment on it. It's saying, I want to talk about item 3A.
Okay.
Which
is there a way to honor the people who have taken time out of their day, even though it's about a discussion item?
Sure. Okay. You want to honor people? Go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, just by allowing them to speak.
Oh, no, that's
yeah. No.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I misunderstood the.
Right there. The agenda to do just.
So the public comment is for items not on the agenda.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. It should say that, but it doesn't. Anyway, sorry about that. I should have updated the agenda item accordingly. Anyway, sorry about the confusion. Okay. So first item up in discussion we are lucky enough to have 2 heritage tree nominations. And I'm going to share my screen so that we can see each of them.
One quick clarification. In the packet, there were 2 different street names
Yeah.
for, I think it was the Oregon Way to, no, it was for the Elm.
Yeah, okay.
That it's on Jackson Street, not Division.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's on Jackson. 1216 Jackson. My mistake.
Not a big.
Yeah, and I see on the staff
Confused
report,
anyone
I wrote
going to Division.
I wrote division, probably because I was looking at something else on the screen about Division Street. So the first nomination is 1216 Jackson Street, not Division Street. So
Yeah, right across the street, the pool entrance.
right. Yeah, it is right across the street, just south of the pool. The nomination was submitted by Betsy Edholm, is that right?
Yes.
And the property owners are Nicholas and Alexandra Coker. Correct. And this is a elm tree, American elm, on private property in the front yard. We estimated the diameter 47 inches. I actually measured that, 47 inches. Estimate the height around 60 feet, might be a little higher. And canopy spread 85 feet. The owner has signed their nomination form. Tree is in great condition. The tree appears to meet the applicable heritage site and condition criteria. And the criteria, for those who are wondering what those are, we have 2 sets of criteria. The first set is the heritage criteria, and at least one of those must be met. The tree or stand of trees is associated with events that have made a significant contribution to the broad pattern of Oregon City's history, or the tree or stand of trees is associated with the life of a person or group of historic significance to Oregon City, or the tree or stand of trees represents a significant and distinguishable presence within Oregon City, or the tree or stand of trees has age, size, or species significance, horticultural or ecological, which contribute to Oregon City's heritage status. So looking at those 4 criteria for heritage tree designation, I think items 3 and 4, it having a significant and distinguishable presence, and it has species significance, age, and size, being a really large and healthy American elm. So that is the heritage criteria. The site and condition criteria all must be satisfied. Tree cannot be listed as an invasive species, and it is not. And if it is on private property or on public property owned by an agency other than Oregon City, then the adjacent property owner or the owner must consent. And in this case, it's a private tree, and the abutting property and the owner has consented to the designation. So that's the first one.
Can I
Yeah.
interrupt quickly?
Yeah.
For William's sake, and maybe Melissa, are we all familiar with what the Heritage Tree Program is and like what that means for these trees and for the community?
Yeah, I didn't really provide any kind of background on that. You know,
Sure, that wasn't my assignment. So being your second meeting, I just wanted to make sure that we
sure.
I know some things about it.
okay.
Yeah, well, Oregon City has several chapters in our code about trees. There is a street tree code chapter. There's a development code tree chapter, which we apply during development review. There's the Natural Resources Overlay District, which is an overlay district that protects streams and habitat. And those 3 chapters are regulatory. So we require permits for tree removal in those when those codes apply. The Heritage Tree Code is chapter 12.32, and it's intended to be entirely voluntary and a way to celebrate the heritage trees in our neighborhood through nomination and designation by the City Commission. What it essentially provides once a tree is designated is it becomes more of a publicly protected tree, because for a tree on private property, we require a deed restriction or covenant be recorded against the property that states that that tree can be taken care of for pruning and various other things that can't be removed for frivolous reasons, unless it's a hazard. And then if it is a hazard, the City Commission is going to have to make a decision about whether it can be removed or not. If it's an immediate hazard, which is a definition in our code where a tree has fallen due to a natural event or is about to fall within 72 hours. We did have a heritage tree that happened to, and it had to be de-designated because it fell into an alley and created some property damage as well. So there was an instance like that. And then we maintain a list of the heritage trees on our website. We don't have a whole lot. This program started when I was, I think in 2010, is when we started it. So it's one of those things we need to talk up more and encourage people. And we do have champions out in the community like Betsy and Dee Dee, who's online. And I think Dee Dee wants to speak as well. So that's kind of what the Heritage Tree Code is all about. If you have any questions about that, I'd be happy to answer. Yeah.
Quick question. If the property is sold or the new owners made aware that they have a heritage tree property?
So in this situation with a tree owner, the City Commission for final approval will want to have that covenant recorded shortly thereafter. or even preferably before, but we'll figure out the timing. A deed restriction shows up on a title report. It runs with the land. So if the property is sold, the tree is still protected. And
Clear the new owners.
yeah, we don't know when property is sold. So we don't necessarily know if that information is transferred, but it's going to be in the title. And anybody who's bought a house or transacted real estate should know to do their due diligence.
Is that clear to you guys?
You good? Okay. Excellent. All right, so that's our first nomination. Are there any other questions about this first one? Happy.
I have some, so I went by it the other day and I noticed the retaining wall. We're working on it. Yeah. We're working on it. They're concerned that our retaining wall. No concerns. When we first bought the house in 2020, I was completely on that side covering that retaining wall, and so we had no clue that it was there. Unfortunately. So it's actually been like that for the last 5.
Do you want to come up?
You can come down.
Like
Sit down there. So just unfortunately, we didn't know at the time and we didn't have the budget for it. So since we needed a new roof also around that 5-year time period, that was kind of our plan, was in 5 years to roof first and then retaining wall, but trying to pay for both. So retaining wall, hopefully by the end of the summer, is getting patched up. An arborist came by who was actually going to prune it this winter. Since it's an elm, you have to wait for winter. So we've already got that in process to prune it this winter. And they talked about the root that is causing it specifically. It's about a 4-inch diameter root. And they don't have concerns of repatching the retaining wall. There's actually enough space that we finally found a contractor that they think they're actually going to be able to keep the current retaining wall, but put it back and essentially patch it back. That's the hope. But if not, we still have that contract. They would take the full retaining wall out on that side and build a new one. So.
And then an arborist would oversee, he'd be like, if the roof needs cut, then he'll be there to perform the action. And if it doesn't, and they can do the new retaining wall over the existing roots, then he's there as well, just to oversee the process.
That's great.
And then the condition of the sidewalk there also. Yeah, fun times.
Multi-stage.
Can't see that.
Yeah, like if you have roots bothering your retaining wall, you got roots bothering you.
Yes, and you can see
Yes,
it.
the arborist talks through that and the alleyway. He talks about the one particular root that's going that way. It's the same 4-inch diameter root that they think it would be fine to cut that one if needed. It just depends on money at this point, to be quite honest. Sure. That's very similar to like the commission meetings happening right now with the sidewalks and how expensive they are. So we're in the process of working with the city on, like with the alleyway and the patching work of like where the alleyway was patched. Gosh, I feel like it was like 20 years ago is what one of our neighbors said. Yeah, so.
So which root, can you tell like which side of the tree the root is on?
Yeah, so
Towards the house or towards the street or?
Towards the street.
the way the root is coming down, we dug out from behind the retaining wall nearly to the bottom of it, and you can put your hand on the root. So the arborist was able to feel the actual root, and it does, right here where she was talking about the disturbance in the sidewalk, is right where that root travels and then seems to take like a jog this way. So if he did actually trim the root, which he's mentioned, once the wall's done, it'd be too easy just to pull up, I don't know how many patches of that sidewalk. We could then remove the root from that, get a nice base, put the sidewalk back in.
And you talked about aerating that.
It's a multi-stage process.
Yeah.
Does that tree like feel to you like pretty straight up? The reason I'm asking is if it's leaning towards the house and there's a root going,
It's
to the house. I'll consider that.
Yeah. The tree is.
Oh, that's a good.
So that's what we bought.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You somehow switched gears.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Time.
That's what when we bought it. That's what happened.
2018.
Yeah. So that was all the.
Ivy.
Yeah.
Couple feet thick. That was the first thing we did was we had it removed because it was actually going up the trunk as well. And you could tell a difference from when we had it removed to the trees kind of like having a side.
Cool.
But yeah, you couldn't see that the wall was leaning out. Yeah, we walked right into that one.
But it sounds like you did due diligence and you had an expert arborist come talk to you about it and suggest some stuff. Probably
That's arborist, the one that we kind of stuck with, and he's been, yeah, like she mentioned, he'll do the weight reduction in the winter time. This will be the second time we've had weight reduction in 5 years, so you can tell the tree's really trying to like.
Well, the winter of 2021, when we had that storm, that's where our insurance covered it because we did have branches that, were of concern. And the reason why we at first found out about the heritage form in general was because once an elm tree loses its leaves, sometimes people don't know if it's an elm. No, the leaves are really helpful in that case. And at the time, we didn't have branches, fall in our house or anything like that, thankfully. And so we were pushed out farther after that ice storm in February, which made it harder because you're back into that April timeframe, I think was when we finally got trimmed, which is where you're getting close to that Dutch elm disease possibility. And the one that finally we could even just get someone to say, yes, they're going to come and trim it at the time because it was such a need. They were like, no, it's certainly an oak. They were like, absolutely. Like it's definitely no. And so it's tough because we're new homeowners. We had barely, I think we only owned the house for like 8 months at that point. And so we're like, I think I remember last summer that I don't know, like you're trying to figure it out. And so that would be helpful because, then you have these documentations that even if we were to sell it, the new homeowners have, and they have confidence in what to do and how to take care of it. But when we got that done in 2021, and we took the ivy out, like Nick was mentioning, there's like this sigh of relief. This tree has grown a lot in the last 4 years, which is why we're doing yet another prune this winter. And then they want to do the injections to make sure that
do an injection.
Right.
Especially since the roots were kind of exposed in that one area of the wall. He said he wants to go in through there and do root injections.
Okay, so not vaginal disease injection.
No. We talked about an injection that would then strengthen more of like the tree itself rather than wanting it to like spread its branches more. Like instead of it wanting to grow outward, it would want to grow stronger inward is what he explained as the injections. But we have the quote that explains the
language makes sense. Yeah, but I understand what you're saying. So like the aeration would allow more space for roots to provide space to grow. That would help stabilize the tree, given that it is like encumbered in 3 sides. Right. You've got like your stairs, the retaining wall, and then the alley. So there's really, it's got only towards your house.
Right. And correct. And without making it even more worse, we don't have foundation in our house. Our house is a post and pier. So that is actually one of the things that, because it's a historical home, not many insurances cover that in a sense, but at the same time, it helps that this tree is there and that it is a post and pier because you're not going to have breakage in any foundation. We don't have a basement to worry about, anything like that. So like when we first bought the house, the inspector was not concerned when it came to like the roots coming, because we've definitely tried to grow a few plants and like you'll find bigger roots already kind of going that way.
I know I already said it, but I want to say it again. So you guys are crystal clear that you decide to sell, you have 10 kids, you need a bigger house, whatever. And there's the potential that a buyer could come to you and say, well, I just really don't want this tree here. This is a deal breaker for me.
Yeah, well, for argument's sake, there's a very niche amount of people who want a historic home anyways, to be quite honest. And so we're already in that.
I'm not it's beautiful.
I totally get it, yeah.
I just want to make sure you understand that that would be a future hurdle.
100%, yeah. I mean, we already understand the hardships of selling a historic home. That tree is a part of the neighborhood. It's a part of the house. A lot of people know our house because of that tree being there. To be honest, like it was one of the reasons we wanted the house, because of this beautiful tree. And so I know it's a small amount of people that would be interested in the house, but I mean, we're already kind of diving in that way because of the historic, it's an 1892 home. So it's kind of a small amount of people you'd sell it to anyway.
Are there not like little plaques that you could even put near the tree as like showing that it's a designated tree?
Talk to Denise the mayor. She knows the person who makes.
Okay, and just to make it.
Yeah, there are heritage trees should have a plaque.
Okay.
Oh, but for the tree, we give you a plaque.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Oh, yeah, Bill already has, sorry.
Yeah.
No, yeah. That's asking for the tree. That way you can put it near the tree and kind of like show it off.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah, that way it's like, if
So we
people are viewing your home, it's like, I want to make this as clear and obvious as
Good
possible.
document saying that people might say, I don't want to buy it because that's a lot.
Oh, and then they can.
Okay, yes, I got it.
Oh, sorry. I didn't understand that.
Thanks for you guys clear about that.
Yes.
I didn't understand that. They don't like that tree.
I mean,
Yeah, no, the burger, we do pay for the tree plaque. We get them made at Canopy Trophy, but we don't pay for the cost of recording the covenant. That's on the owner.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. Cool. Great. So we will take a vote on this one.
Sure.
Yeah.
All in favor of the elm at 1216 Jackson Street? Thank you, say aye.
I'm in favor.
Four yes.
So that's everybody, no abstentions are.
Excellent. So next steps is send this forward to the city commission. Usually on consent agenda, the city commission can pull it off the consent agenda if they wish to, but I wish there were a little more ceremony at the city commission than the consent agenda, but that's not my decision to make. So what I try to do is in the staff report for the city commission, tee it up nicely, give a good explanation, talk about your recommendation, and then furnish the plaque. We also give you a certificate if you want a certificate. You can do that as well for inside the house. And then, yeah, so we'll move ahead, and congratulations. Thank you. Betsy, did you have anything you wanted to say about this one? Or
I'm just thrilled. I'm so happy. It's the first tree that I've ever nominated. I'm just thrilled.
Excellent. That's great. All right. Well, you're about to get number 2. So number 2 heritage tree nomination today is for Oregon White Oak at 335 Warner Milne Road, which is the Church of Christ, Oregon City Church of Christ. And this is an Oregon White Oak, Quercus garryana. And based on the 2024 measurement from Tarragon and Associates, has a DBH around 37 inches, height of approximately 50, that's an estimate, and a canopy spread of approximately 45 feet. Did want to mention that in March 2025, the City Commission considered but denied the proposed removal of this street tree, which would have had to be removed in order to accommodate a new sidewalk along that side of Warner Milne Road. And that was a decision which involved Public Works Department, and they had approached the property owner about trying to save this tree by routing the sidewalk around it on private property. The church didn't want to do that, so the decision was made to deny the removal. And in that situation, it was the city staff initiated removal because it was a city project using city money. So that review required a city commission decision. It's not associated with the heritage process whatsoever. So the heritage process that we're discussing now is separate. The tree, with this nomination, the church leadership are signing as the abutting property owners, consenting to the nomination. The tree is in good condition, although a portion of the canopy apparently damaged, and there's a note about that in that Tarragon and Associates report, which is I did not put that report in the agenda because it's part of a separate decision. And the tree appears to meet the applicable heritage site and condition criteria. So it's a little different when the heritage nomination is for a tree in the right of way because the abutting property owner is still responsible for it. But in this situation, we don't have them record a covenant because it's in public right of way already, and we're not trying to regulate the private property. So that doesn't mean that this tree is not as protected, because the city commission would still have to make any decision about the removal in that case.
But the adjacent property owner wanted to do any maintenance for the tree, they'd still have to go through the regular process to do that.
Yeah, depending on what they want to do to the tree, pruning, those sorts of things. That's entirely their obligation and responsibility. And they would need to talk to the planning division and let us know what they're doing. So that's an important consideration. Betsy, did you want to say anything about this one? You're welcome to come up.
I know that my friend in the tree, because I live on the same street. And I visit it all the time and say hi to it. I just wanted to let everyone know here that Pete did return the nomination form to me for updating the signatures on the nomination form. And I do have that updated nomination form. It's at the church right now.
Okay.
And I'm waiting for them to sign it, and then they'll let me know, and I can just go over there and pick it up, and I'll resubmit it again. So that's where we stand on that nomination.
Yeah, the only thing was they signed the nomination part, not the ownership part, and it didn't sign the bottom. So we'll have that done, when they move ahead to city commission. All right.
Just reading about it in its history, and it's approximately 352 years old. And yes, and it's designated an ancient tree after 100 years. So it's an ancient tree 3 times over. To me, that's just mind blowing. It's unbelievable.
On the form, it says the diameter is 70 inches, and I think you said a different.
Yeah, it's not 70 inches.
Yeah, 36.
Yeah. Yeah.
If it was 70, it'd be twice the size. It'd be hard.
It's
Still
hot.
worthy of heritage.
Yeah.
Okay.
So 37-inch diameter white oak is 350. That's like
300 and approximately 352 years old. So it was here before the Wagoneers ever even thought to come to the West Coast.
Yeah, I was able to pick it out on a 1930 aerial photo, because the city has that comparison aerial photo tool in GIS. And they're really grainy photos, but you can just make out Warner Milne Road, which is tiny, and it's all farmland and orchards, except for a few buildings here and there, and you can see that tree. And it's like top, but you can see it. Yeah.
And what year was that picture?
I think it was on 1930s.
Okay.
I'll pull it up if anybody wants to see it. Okay. Let's see. To do the course. So to find this really nifty comparison tool, you go to the city website, which is floating on my PC. I don't know why. Come on.
Stage version. Like that happens in this room
Well,
more often.
it's my laptop, but it does not. Well, sorry.
Okay.
if you go to the GIS department and go to historical photo comparison, it'll pop up with a screen and you can,
You have OC map tab open there.
it's not part of OC Map. It's a separate, it's a separate app. Under interactive maps and apps. Oh, come on. Why is that? My mouse is broken. I'm gonna blame it on the mouse. Photo comparisons. Under historic and cultural, you go to photo comparison tool and you view the app. And then you zoom in on your part of the city that you want. So there it is. I'm gonna put right photo 2024, left photo goes back a ways. I think it was. Yeah. So if you slide the bar, it's hard to tell, but yeah, there's Warner Milligan Road. And I think it's this one. It's hard to tell. 1929. Yeah, that's as far back as we go. And I'm not exactly sure what it is because it's grainy, but you can see there was a line of trees along there. Yeah. Anyway, that's pretty neat.
Thanks for showing us the tool.
Yeah, sure. GIS they're amazing. Okay. And
I think I sent you the 3 pictures of it already.
yeah, I put those in the pack.
Oh, okay.
Saw it.
Don't recall seeing. Yeah.
All right. So let me find my email. Here.
It's pretty much right down the street.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's between the Church of Christ, if you're going that way towards Malala. The Church of Christ is on the left and Bugatti's is right across the street from the tree. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. I've seen it.
Almost
Yeah.
right to Malala, almost.
Oh, I knew where I put them. Sorry. You get to see my messy file folder. Nanny, trends, heritage trends.
That's pretty organized.
Boy, thank you.
Yeah.
Darn it. So, it was in a Google Drive. Okay. I did download. There they are. Okay. Winter time.
That was the winner.
Yeah, that's. And yeah. So there it is. It's right on the edge of the curve, but it's got a good big lawn behind it.
And the utility overhead wires are on the other side of the
They're on the other side. Yeah. Right? Yeah, they are. Okay. So,
do you have any more questions or discussions for this?
yeah.
Thank you for nominating.
Oh, absolutely, yes. It was, and when I'm not familiar with the program whatsoever, but I drive on Winter Milling all the time because I live on Winter Milling, and I just happened to see this notice, white paper tied to the tree. And I was just curious. Oh, well, what's that? What's happening here? And so I stopped and I looked and I saw that it was the request for the removal of the tree. And I was like, this tree. Then I started doing all my research and everything. No, we need to get this to be a heritage oak tree, definitely. Especially when I found out its age. Approximately 352 years old. That's unbelievable to think that to me.
Street view. Oh, there's the parking lot.
There.
Gotta get away from it. It's the only tree around. So it's coming from that direction.
Yeah, it's like a lone tree.
Yeah, so I think this part of the crown was the section that might have gotten blown out in the storm, but I don't know. Yep, it's the only thing there.
Is that sidewalk project dead?
For the time being. Yeah. So the funding for they have this fee that you all pay for pavement maintenance. And if they have left over, they use it for curb ramps and sidewalks. And so they call that the PMUF, pavement maintenance utility fee, which is public works. And that's what they use to upgrade keep the streets sealed, which cuts down on major maintenance. And primarily that's what it's for, but occasionally there's overage and leftover, and they use those for curb ramp ADA compliance and sidewalk improvements if they've got the money. So, yeah.
And the street too had the updated the asphalt, the road.
Mm-hmm.
And the church said, we don't want you to build a sidewalk into our property. So
Yeah, they're concerned. I mean, I'm sure they're concerned about liability and that sort of thing. When there's a sidewalk on your property, I mean, you're responsible for it, whether it's on or off your property, if it's a public sidewalk. And then, if it was on the property, you would have asked for an easement. And, but, I don't know what the legal aspects of that are if somebody trips on that sort of thing. It's the same if the sidewalk's in the public right of way, you're still liable for it. So, which is why we have so many issues with and why the city has a grants program for sidewalk repair. And that's
Any other questions or comments? All right, vote. All in favor, raise your hand, say aye.
Aye.
Unanimous.
Oh, Dorothy, did you want to say a few words? Edie?
Oh, she's muted.
You're muted. You have to take your mute off. Hello? I think she may be driving. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Next item. Okay, so.
Motion carries.
Good. That one's number 2.
But I still have to thank you. I'm so excited. I'm so happy. So when I still need to give you new sign, not
If you would, yeah.
Absolutely, yes.
We can take it to City Commission.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you so much.
Thank you.
So exciting. Go find more. I'm all the way down.
Carrying on a grand tradition. Yeah.
Oh, and I did ask one more question, actually.
Mm.
On item C, you talk about the goals for the tree canopy assessment, the Bee City USA, the Tree City USA.
Mm-hmm.
Can volunteers help do that or no?
Yeah. I have an update for the committee on that.
Okay.
We have to have a scope of work and a budget. So we first need to secure grant funding for it. And I thought we had a shot. That's what I wrote in the report. And then there was a Q&A session yesterday, and come to find out that we're probably not eligible because we're not a environmental justice community based on census tracts, which is the major issue, is that Department of Land Conservation and Development, the grant that they're calling the Green Infrastructure Grant, is there to fund tree canopy, urban forestry plans, very much focused on actually getting trees planted, and nurseries and seed banks and all sorts of really good stuff, very, very hands-on type stuff. And a canopy assessment just by itself doesn't fit their criteria. The City Commission goal is only to do a canopy assessment. It's not to do a canopy assessment and an urban forestry plan. That would have to come later as separate, because it would have to fall under a particular department and be guided by that. And if we're going to do a canopy assessment in public parks, which is the original thrust of this, it's through the Parks Department. And if we're doing a canopy assessment for public right-of-way, street trees, it's going to be through Public Works Department with planning help, because that's what we do. So unfortunately, we've got to go find a different source of funding for that. So I notified Parks, and there are a few grants out there from other sources that I have to chase down. But the two major ones that I was counting on, Oregon Department of Forestry was last year. We missed the deadline for that. And then this green infrastructure one. I have registered my concerns with the Department of Land Conservation and Development, and I've said that a public tree inventory for a public park should, qualify as an environmental justice type project, because everybody uses parks, and we try hard in our parks master plan to make sure that the parks are planned and located in areas where they will benefit the greater majority of people, including people of lower incomes. So I've said as much to the DLCD, and we'll see what comes of it. But their criteria are quite strict.
Resources I found as well, but
we're great. Let's talk about that.
Okay, so
we're not there yet.
Okay, but remember me, gets it.
That's Thank you.
Yeah. As you can tell, I'm a tree hugger from back in the set.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks, Betsy.
All right, well, let's put it in that work item. You said let's work on the work plan.
All right.
Everyone had a chance to look at the edited version that was included in the packet. A lot of that is only from what we talked about last time. So I didn't, unless anyone reached out to meet with edits separately, this is all from the last meeting, which was many months ago.
It was about 4 months ago. Do you want to run through the red lines?
Sure. And then if we have other proposed edits down to that. Well,
I'll wrap it though.
Okay. So number 3, we decided to edit to state, improve awareness of the natural resources overlay district. So we're narrowing the focus of that to what we regulate, and there were some really good ideas came out of that, including using our GIS information to figure out when a property is sold within the NROD and notifying the property owner that they are in an NROD. We could do it for existing owners too. Just put some flyers together. That's not a big deal. And the NROD Natural Resource Overlay District is a regulatory overlay, but there are a lot of activities that are exempt from review that are intended to facilitate enhancement of the habitat and canopy and water resources, because it's the NROD Natural Resource Overlay District it implements 2 major aspects of the statewide planning requirements for water quality and habitat. And as a metro city, we're also subject to Metro Title 3 and 13, which is Title 3 is water quality and Title 13 is nature in the neighborhood's habitat. And so the NROD was adopted and accepted by Metro as compliant with the Metro Urban Growth Functional Management Plan. And that's what we use to protect streams when development's proposed. So we probably do 3 or 4 actual type 2 NROD applications a year. If an adjustment from those standards is requested, that's a type 3 planning commission decision. And we also need to tell the NRC when somebody requests an adjustment from the NROD code. And then there's what we call exemptions, and they have to apply for an exemption because we have to know that what they're applying for is actually an activity that is exempt, whether it's removing invasive species. They need to tell us that they know what they're doing. There are also requirements that they can only use handheld equipment in the Natural Resource Overlay District, not a lot of not any motorized equipment, which is a difficult thing when you're doing large scale blackberry root, that sort of thing. So that's one of our ordinances. So changing it and tweaking it to be better and more relevant is something that takes a lot. It has to go to the type 3, 4 review, and at that point, NRC would be involved. But we haven't modified the NROD code in about 4 or 5 years, except to add a paragraph in there that says that encourages property owners to consult with the NRC whether or not they're proposing development in the NROD. So that was something that Doug Neely advocated for, and we actually put in the code. The other Doug Neely addition to the code, and I mention this because it's an actual application that has been submitted for an adjustment. Park Place subdivision, which is one that's been proposed on and off over the years, south of Holcomb Boulevard and north of Livesey Road. Tour Creek comes through there, it joins Livesey Creek. It's a tributary. It's got a 200-foot NROD buffer on both sides because it drains into the Abernethy drainage. And so the code requires 200 foot. If a developer proposes to cross the NROD ravine or over the top or underneath and it's not in a right of way or a part of a street, it's just a utility connection, That's a planning commission type 3 adjustment. So the subdivision that is currently proposed wants to connect to an existing sewer line in Oak Tree Terrace because they don't have the means to gravity the sewer down to Redland Road. So they've got sufficient elevation on their property that they can put in a pipe across the end-rod that would be supported on 2 sides. And I've been asking them for further details. It's not going to the planning commission until September 22nd. But the planning commission would be reviewing that one. So, yeah. Anyway,
We're just reviewing this red line, right?
yeah, sorry. I'm totally off topic.
Group awareness.
Yeah, thank you.
What is it, type 3?
Type 3 refers to an Oregon land use decision type. In all cities, it's discretionary. So most of our codes, especially for residential development, are required to be clear and objective so that there's no, so that everybody can agree on what the standard is and everybody gets treated fairly, particularly now that there's so much emphasis on residential housing and how the governor has come out with a whole barrage of laws that are promoting housing development and preempting local government and gave a city commission update on the last session last night. So anyway, long story short, the state is attempting to take away a lot of discretion. And in overlay districts, ones that protect natural resources, and you're dealing with a lot of expert testimony, and one developer has an expert who says one thing, and the city has an expert that reviews what that expert says and says whether it meets code or not. You know, those are discretionary discussions and decisions. So the legislature is pushing for us not to do type 3s much anymore. They're trying to make everything staff level, clear and objective, non-appealable, blah, 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 blah. And it's a lot of cities are pushing back. Oregon City pushed back, but wasn't successful because it's an executive order. The housing lobby and the Home Builders Association has been incredibly successful in pushing all of this stuff forward. Not that I have any problem with new housing, but it is an entirely new paradigm for local planning. And it's hard to get used to. So anyway, for the time being, type 3 decisions will go to the planning commission and they are the decision maker, not staff. And so that requires a public hearing. Anybody can come and comment and give their comments to the planning commission. Planning commission listens to all the public testimony, listens to staff, listens to the developer, and then they close the public hearing, deliberate, and vote on whether or not to approve the adjustment or the development or whatever it is they're talking about. So things like, we call them variances, which is your traditional type 3 application where any part of the zoning code you can ask for a variance from, but it's got to go to the planning commission. So legislature is saying that variances need to be type 2s. It's like, well, okay. I can't wait to see those criteria. Anyway, conditional uses, which are, let's say you're a residential area, but you're proposing something that is not residential in nature, such as a school or a church or something that generates a lot of traffic, that requires a conditional use in that zone. And that's a planning commission decision. And other things, zone changes. Zone changes are where you're changing from R8, R6, from commercial to residential. Those are definitely discretionary decisions, and the legislature wants to make those type 2s too, if they're a residential upzone. So anyway, I hope and think that what we call Goal 5 resources will remain discretionary decisions because they're protecting sensitive areas. Anything that is a cultural resource, steep slope overlay, geologic hazard, or anything within the natural resources overlay district, if you're going to be requesting adjustments to those, it's a type 3 decision.
There are many layers of jargon in there that
I know.
I'm sorry, back to the original number 3,
Yeah.
informing property owners. Like my intention when like thinking about this is I'm thinking of, regular homeowners. But obviously there's people who own property who are developers that are gonna be dealing with all this, stuff, the aforementioned stuff. And I was imagining that this material that we're developing is oriented towards homeowners, but does it need to be broader so that it's like addressing both homeowners and developers who own land who are maybe doing larger development projects? Or, I'm wondering who the audience is exactly.
Well, I was thinking if you're a homeowner, you're probably going to want to know what you can do without city.
And also, the big issue for me, and I've talked to other people who live in Inrods with the same problem, where like they want to figure out what does Inrod mean, and they look at the code and like, I don't know, this is word salad. I don't know what this means. So I was planning to try to write it in a way that doesn't assume any knowledge of city code. Yeah, simple language, and then refer to a website for the actual code. And but then that's something like that might not be appropriate for development.
Well, I think there's a way to do it because we generally say on our website, if you have questions about development, call planning and or email planning, and we'll guide you. That's what we're here for. That's what we spend 20 to 25 hours a week doing at the counter. I do think that there's a way to kind of make it simpler. And for example, the exemptions list, there's probably about 14, 15 different exemptions that cover things like existing gardening, existing gardens, making repairs to existing structures, utility trenching, as long as you put it back with native seed and don't disturb more than 100 square feet, that's an exemption. So there are some very specific exemptions that would be very helpful for people to know about. Because a lot of times they would be like, well, why do I need city approval of my exemption? I'm exempt. And then they go off and plan something.
The word exempt.
Yeah. So
I wouldn't even want to use the word exemptions in this brochure.
Yeah. Right.
Kind of,
Yeah, you should say uses under prescribed conditions. Just kidding.
Are we going to talk about these individual things later?
Let's go. Let's whip through these.
I think we're just focusing on the language of the work plan, and we can simplify and have separate conversations about the specific brochure.
I had a quick question because I wasn't able to make this meeting. Why has the number 4 been redlined? Why is the Heritage Tree Program no longer on the boards?
We moved it around, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, let's see.
We were looking at this, but it was like 4 months ago or whatever. As long as it's on there in some capacity.
Sport partnerships.
Oh, it was not diminishing our role in the Heritage Tree Program, but this specific item talked about finding specific trees in a specific area.
I saw number 5 is like the Thibault Creek.
So I thought the thinking was that was not going to be a priority.
But number 4 was more general.
Yeah, so the generalized number 4, supporting Heritage Program.
Oh, because we mentioned it up here.
Yeah, that lumped into other, or it was already included. in a separate task. So we're just trying to reduce redundancy.
Yeah, that was the focus, was trying to reduce the redundant stuff. Thimble Creek was removed because it's no longer, the property owner is no longer interested in that. They've sold the golf course to Toll Brothers, who are gonna develop housing.
So I wanted to propose striking number 4, or at least parts of it. It was interpretive science. They're trying to make it simpler, so we can still support enhancing tourism.
Oh, this one?
Yeah, I feel like it's just, I don't have the sense from the NRC that there's anyone here that really has an impetus to really dig into this task. And if you don't have someone to do it or work on it, it probably should be on work for this buy-in. Good. We've got other things that we're interested in. So rather than trying to tie our work or energy to something that no one's really signing up for, or we don't have, volunteers in the community, trying to work on this, it would be good to maybe table this for a future work plan.
And part of that could potentially, for B City and the law that's to do with education legally.
Yeah,
But part of that could, if we still want to do that, it could just be under the umbrella.
that would be
No money for the program.
if we want to specify these specific tasks to the city efforts, then that would be a good way to not lose it, but also have a specific project it's tied to. Yeah.
So what's?
So number 4, we're going to say in conjunction with B City USA designation, all these things are going to be tied to that. Maybe not the swift migrations or the air industries, but
So we can, but we're saying we can strike number 4 in the area where we talk about B City, because I believe that's lower.
yes,
It will call out some of these specific action items.
yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think we should keep this as short and simple as we can. And I don't know how many meetings we have left this year or before the end of this, but there's not a lot of time unless someone, repeating that you said, but I agree, unless someone is like, I want to do that, then it's not worth having on here for us to go back and report that we didn't do anything about it.
All right.
So do you need language assistance, Pete?
Well, did you want to keep going down the list on that one?
You captured the about adjustments to task 4, the blue line task.
Yeah, so you don't want to get rid of it entirely. What are you saying?
So I think we're not going to specify we're going to specify some of these tasks like interpretive signage, towards things about pollinators and these city designations. But we'll exclude things like swift migration, heritage trees, etc. That way we can be narrowed to B City USA efforts, and it's underneath that, the umbrella of that project. That makes sense.
Okay.
Which is a city commission
Goal, which is under 4 below.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I will try and change. Added on number 5, we just added backyard habitat. And number 6 didn't change, or number 7.
Should we have Xerxes on there? Because we're collaborating them.
That's below, it's in there.
Oh,
Yeah.
Just for reference, I'm going to be rotating off OCT after December. So unless someone else from Oregon City, not that we can, dismiss OCT entirely from partnerships, but your direct tie is going away.
Okay.
Unless someone else wants to join OCT.
Well,
And I'm happy to talk to anyone, either from your staff, Pete, or anyone else in the city, that you might recommend. I can.
Yeah, I would, I'd like to talk to park staff as well.
Okay, I can send
You'd
you.
like to widen the net.
I'll send you an email
Yeah.
that talks about it.
Yeah.
It's like scope of work, benefits of doing professional development, benefits of.
Okay. Yeah,
It would be great if Brown were to be a direct representative.
I agree. Okay, good to know. And yeah, Dana, our public works director, she'd be a good person to have in that conversation as well.
And they don't need to be an arborist or any certified licensed person. They can
Okay.
be just an everyday Joe,
Okay.
but they have to be geek country.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
I think, would it be worth asking Betsy?
We can ask anyone.
Yeah, I mean, if she wants to be involved in like some capacity, then we could, I don't know. Do you have her contact info, Pete? Is that?
It's on the,
Yep, sure do.
yeah, on the application.
Yep.
I'll send it to her as well. Okay.
Responsibility 2, we took out supported and coordinated strategy for invasive species management, IPM, because that would be an integral component of Bee City USA. And Xerces Society would be involving our city in an IPM program. So that's why we took that out. We added invasive insects, not just invasive plants, to our efforts to improve public outreach and information. And then we struggled with this one because we have an existing nuisance and native plant list, but we rely on more regional and larger lists in our daily practice. So we changed it to reference regionally accepted and regularly updated plant lists from these entities. Soil Water District, Metro, Portland, and Willamette native plant list. Number 5 that we took out is the Public Works Department explored feasibility of offering reduced stormwater rates in return for planting trees. Public Works has no interest in this, unfortunately. So I think it's a great idea, but I don't think the way that Public Works administers their rates for stormwater, they're not interested in tweaking their current program.
When that was proposed to Public Works, was that under the current staff, or was that an earlier staff member who may bring that? Is that person still, like, if that were to be resubmitted, would it be the same person looking at it?
To be honest, I don't remember, but you know, if you did want to explore it more with the current Public Works director,
I know there's a lot of,
welcome to.
there's been a lot of change there.
Yeah. I mean, Dana is our new Public Works director. Josh is our development guy. He does a lot of he doesn't administer the stormwater rate, but so if you want to keep it on there and, you know, advocate for it more with the Public Works Department, yeah. I'm not saying you shouldn't.
I would like to explore that idea more, but it doesn't really offer much in terms of just saying, hey, can we, like, you know, give a discount to people with trees or planting trees? It might need more of a conversation around that to give real, you know, convincing or incorporating any limitations or concerns that Public Works might have. If they've got some fundamental things that, like, it's hard for them to, like, drill down.
Well, they would probably want to know, you know, is that household needy enough where they need a reduction in stormwater for that development? You know, there's some sort of metric like that.
So maybe that could be a future work item that, again, we have limited capacity and few and limited time, unfortunately, to do it. So I like the idea of not throwing it away completely. I really would like to do that. I don't have the capacity to dig it. So we can have like a future someday bucket where we can save these great ideas. It doesn't have to live on the work plan list.
So do you guys want to keep that one?
Can we have like a document for all the things that we're moving that we don't have like capacity for but want to come back to, so we don't forget about them? And then if there's turnover, then those people can look at this and like, hey, we did these things, like we get these other priorities. But like, what did you say, a bucket? You can just like
It's a separate document, so we don't get a parking lot perfect. Or
Okay.
a document
The bucket.
that keeps track of these great ideas that we're moving off our biennial work plan, but would like to reconsider in future if and when capacity and time. So,
Okay.
so
Well,
there you go.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Is that?
Yeah, you want like in the same document, but a little lower down with a different heading?
If that's fine. If we are okay keeping it on the work plan, I don't have any
Kind of a wish list.
wish list. If it keeps it official documents.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good idea.
Thanks.
So this one goes in the wish list. Sorry for that. Support city's application and participation in B City USA and integrated pest management. So that kind of picks up the IPM from the other area. This one didn't change. Promote public awareness of ways to promote and preserve invertebrate habitat through educational events such as booths at Spring Resource Fair, city website, trail news, and city Facebook page, and other social media. Didn't really look at this one, but it seems very close to the B City USA one. Do you want to keep it or combine it? And then promote public awareness of the dangers of pesticide use and cost savings associated with reduced pesticide application, reduced landscape maintenance.
So I think 6 would fall under the Visa USA program. Components of 5, I think, could be specified again, just like the last one.
Okay.
Towards it, but generally speaking, you don't have someone wanting to do those NRC specific booths, right? Am I correct?
Well, this is the kind of thing where other committees can be involved as well. PRAC and Citizen Involvement Committee. So.
But in order to meet that objective at the NRC, we would have to have some coordinating.
Yep.
That's right.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So I'm not saying we shouldn't be doing those things, but or they should not be done.
No, but someone has to head it up.
Do it. Yeah. So components of that could be done through the BCD USA initiative, like the public awareness, promoting, preserving habitat, invertebrate habitat, these invertebrates, and educational events, all that stuff. But again, that would be specific to that initiative and not general.
Okay.
For the trail news, like if we wanted to put a piece in there about like invertebrate conservation, like who would we reach out to? Or I know the deadlines for submitting are very far out. It's like at least 6 months or something, but I feel like every time I read the trail news, it's just the same thing over and over again. And like it would be great to get something that just wasn't a repeat of the prior one. But who's the contact? And is there like a process of like certain things are submitted but not accepted? Like what is the...
Jared Lyman is our communications coordinator who puts together the trail news and manages the budget for it. So contracts with the editor, all that other stuff. Then he approaches departments who want to submit articles And he doesn't want to just include stuff that's on our website. He wants new, fresh material. So something like this, we would just reserve a spot because we have quarterly print edition, which is getting more and more expensive. He's constantly harping on about how expensive it's getting.
You know how much it costs out of curiosity, like for the ones that need to get done?
No idea.
It's a pretty big thing.
You mentioned it one time, but I can't remember.
Yeah,
It was a lot.
It was a lot. There's also the monthly e-version, which is e-trail, which is cheap e-formats.
Could we get a call? I'm happy to put some schedules.
Pardon?
Could we get either like a spot in one of those?
Yeah, I
And
think we'll just put it as, we'll ask Jared about it at our next one. We'll shoot him an email. You remember that?
Mhm.
Okay, cool.
Or even for the emails too. Like I'm happy to like just do that because I feel a lot of it's seasonal, and so to have like I can just write something, you know, for an email if it's every month, just like seasonal things that might be happening.
You want to take that initiative, just do it now?
Yeah,
we could have a regular.
I mean, that's like that's like a low key.
I think it'd be easier to carve out a regular spot in the trail news.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like have a primary and like have somebody.
E-trail for sure.
And I'm happy to do that.
Yeah.
So much out there. It's not going to be hard to find.
Yeah. And you know, it's up to Jared kind of where the article fits in the document, you know, whether it's just like community news or something.
I think anywhere.
Yeah, it doesn't bother
I
me.
think he'd be happy to have
It'd be great
communication
there.
I think he would.
To justify
it and then send it to me, and
I can reach out to him. And
That's a really good idea because he's never like news from PrAC, news from NRC, news from so and so. It'd be a really nice vehicle for the committees to actually get some fresh material in there.
It'd be nice to for people to like know what like our committees are doing because I feel like
Absolutely.
like they want to read meeting notes, which are kind of tedious.
Yeah.
That's a really good idea. I like that. Can you kind of lead the way by emailing Jared and say we talked about this in NRC?
Should I CC everyone, or what is or just CC you, Pete, or
do you want me to
or I
make
can
the introduction?
Jared.
Yeah, why don't you make the introduction?
Okay,
I can make the introduction and then
thank you.
we can take it from there. Let him know that we talked about it.
Thank you.
Give us a lot and it's list.
Cool. Great.
Thank you.
Okay, so is everyone okay with these minor adjustments of specifying these tasks under the umbrella of BC? Rather than generalized, and then getting more traction. Okay, excellent. Next, responsibility win.
I think that's it.
More edits?
No more edits.
Are we going to talk about B City? Is that something that?
That's next up.
I know, we're excited. I know, probably gonna be back.
B City.
What is that?
Okay, great, thank you.
All right, so
Before we move on, so just so I'm clear, we're gonna take those red lines, put them in another
do
document,
you want me
and
to?
have a clean one.
Yeah. Do you want? I don't want to wait another 2 months for you to bless the work plan again.
Yeah.
But I don't know how to get your blessing without having another meeting unless we do it.
Can you just send it to all of us and we just like vote remotely or something?
You'd have to respond back to me individually, not to each other, because that's a serial public meeting. The serial public meetings are now like the state's cracking down on us, even though it's just the NRC. Huh? Pardon?
We're so chill.
I know, but there's
Can
so.
we do like a 30-minute remote meeting?
Do that.
Once we have it,
Yeah.
look, let's put together the meeting.
Yeah.
Open up and vote.
Yeah,
Nothing else is on the.
that's fine. Yeah,
Okay, special meeting.
special meeting.
Great.
Call a special meeting.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, sure, we can do that. That's easy. Remote. Yeah. Great. When? Soon, right?
Next week.
Yeah, I was gonna say something.
Let's say 2 weeks out. How about?
Can we do it possibly later, like at 8? Is that too late?
Fine, yeah,
My kid goes to bed at 10.
8.
Look at you, you're like that.
What works well, what night of the week is best for this special meeting?
Our Thursday.
Thursday.
The 28th? 28th at 8 p.m. We'll have a special meeting and bless it.
Wait, you said 8 is too late.
I'm in bed. Yeah.
So like 7.
7?
7.
Okay.
That'll give me things.
I can do remote like in bed.
I won't be in bed, but I may have my fuzzy slippers on.
I think this should be pretty quick.
No, I can make it, is my point. I can just, I can only do that.
Just.
Yeah. Thanks for that.
All right, cool.
Thank you.
I think the idea of doing special meetings in between these every 2 month ones may be a great idea too, just so we can keep things remote.
Yeah.
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 So just to like remind ourselves what we did 2 months apart, it's like, especially if you miss one, like I haven't been to a meeting in 4 months.
I know, it's hard.
What did we?
What we did
well,
last time.
I know, that's what I mean, like it's been a long time.
Yeah.
And a different season.
And
Yeah.
it's almost.
Yeah.
Great. Okay. Any questions or discussions before we move on to the next discussion? Great. Next meeting is the 28th.
28th at 8 p.m. 7 p.m. Sorry.
7 p.m. I'm writing it down.
Thursday.
Put it in your calendars if we need.
Okay. Next item. So City Commission had their goal setting retreat. It is really, I didn't go to it, but I watched part of it. Quilla attended. And the NRC's letter was like one of the only committee letters that made it into the packet. And there was 2 days of retreat, a lot of discussion there, balancing all kinds of competing goals and priorities. And it ends up being watching sausage being made because the NRC's request, it was very clear what we wanted. And out of that, the Canopy assessment, B City USA came up as goals they wanted to pursue. And they put both of them under the heading improve parks and natural resources. So it's kind of like directed towards the park system. Included in those priorities are adopting a 5-year parks capital improvement plan, but then for us, strive to become recognized as B City USA and increase high quality habitat for pollinators, in particular native bees, maintain our Tree City USA, identify and apply for grant funding to complete a tree canopy assessment and determine the needs and costs associated with the city arborist, and then Blackman Park overrun, which is a PRAC issue. So all of these are essentially PRAC issues as well. There was some discussion of funding at the budget committee meeting, and we were looking at the DLCD Green Infrastructure Grant, but for the reasons I mentioned earlier, apparently we're no longer eligible. So we need to find another grant. So that's kind of in limbo until we can find a source. I anticipate that goal, which is being championed by the mayor, will continue to remain on the city commission's goals in future years as well. Parks Department has agreed to take the lead on the Bee City USA application, so Tom Kissinger is going to be heading that up with our assistance. And learned that last week. Yeah. So,
do you have additional information, Pete, on, like, I guess Tom's, or the Parks Department, like what they're planning to include on that application, or are we going to be like involved in that application in a direct way, or is it just going to kind of be like they've written the application and then they're showing it to us for like?
There are the details about Bee City USA include what community groups are involved. So you know, it's not just the city initiated thing. There needs to be a committee helping support and champion it. So I would assume that's going to include NRC and PRAC, not just in the application process, but in the implementation as well.
I'm happy to like talk to Tom, because that's something that Xerxes has a really incredible YouTube channel, and there's a lot of excellent examples from around our area. Eugene is they cut their pesticide use by like over 90% over a 5-year period. And I would love to see like the application include recommendations or information from like relevant, you know, because it's internet, or I guess it's just national, but there's just like a lot of information to pull from and not starting from scratch. Like it would be good.
Yeah. Yeah, I can. Yeah, I'm happy to, you know, help promote that. And it's just Tom's trying to get the Parks Master Plan adopted right now, so he's pretty busy. I'll check in with him and get that rolling.
I'm also happy to help with that application. I haven't looked at it in a while, but I was just listening to YouTube videos from Xerxes for like 2 weeks straight. So I feel like if I jump back into it, I could be, like there's just so much information there, right? So where to begin? And the IPM plan, if I remember right, is you don't have to have an IPM plan when you submit the application. You just have to have a plan to work on.
Start the process.
Yeah, exactly. But if there's, you know, just kind of general guidelines for what that might look like, then and I'm happy to collaborate with Tom on that.
Yeah.
If he wants to.
Oh, it's so busy. It seems like the family would be a great resource to help.
That's great.
Make a successful.
Well, you're on both committees, and that would be perfect. Thank you. Appreciate the volunteer. I haven't looked into the application requirements enough to know. So if you want to do that.
Yeah, you know, it's been 2 years. I think we've been talking about this, but it's basically just like a promise that the city makes to try and do better. And there's various ways that can happen.
Yeah. You know, I know in the Tom is pretty well versed in IPM from what I can tell, and then it's a matter of how do they train the summer staff and herbicide and pesticide applicators, and when to not spray and when to not mow or when to mow. So those kinds of things are what he knows about and is interested in. Public Works, I just don't know. It's sort of like Public Works has like over 1,000 different landscape contracts for all the storm ponds and city-owned stuff. And that would be a lot more corralling and to get all those contractors in line with the IPM. So,
landscape contracts. How many ponds are there?
Well, there's there's a lot. There's not just ponds, but there's also swales and detention areas that are really small, where Public Works has a maintenance agreement or an easement because it ties into the city stormwater system.
And there's 1,000, at least 1,000.
That's what Martin Montalvo came and gave a presentation a few years back about all of the green spaces and water quality areas that Public Works maintains.
A lot of acreage.
And that included city-owned tax lots, city-owned detention areas, and then he said it's over 1,000, which I found hard to believe, but apparently it is. So yeah, it's a lot. They're not all. Yeah, and we've got stormwater easements as well, where stormwater crews are going in and keeping drainage way clear while at the same time not denuding it of vegetation, which is a tough balance. Like Coffee Creek runs through the backyards of a bunch of people's houses, and some of them have paved it, and others know that it's a natural resource and they're supposed to keep it maintained as a more natural landscaped area. So that's one of those things where education is critical.
But the commission specifically designated parks as the relevant branch that would address the city or be involved with that.
Yeah, because they've done a number of pollination projects already, and have more space and land. They're the ones that maintain the parks, the city-owned parks. For the time being, that's who's heading it up.
Thank you.
Sure. It might, in future years, extend Public Works as well. I hope it does, but I think got to get started. Okay. And then we will ask your support for those applications. Get them rolling.
I wanted to mention, so there are other resources for tree canopy assessment. It would be good to know what sort of standards we're looking for so that I can make sure that we're meeting them. So if we're doing it in parks, I'd be curious to know if there are any park specific grants that are available. I know that within the state is ORPA or something, I forget who exactly does Oregon's level park grants, but like you can request grants from Oregon Parks Department for all number of things, including planning work. So if there was an interest in doing that, canopy assessment is integral to planning. Then there's Metro has like nature and neighborhood grants, which they do annually. Those are typically smaller scale grants, so they're not like the $100,000 grant size. They're usually like the 10 grant size. But I don't think we even need that scale of a grant. Again, looking for whatever standard we're looking for. But ODF is coming out with a canopy assessment tool that I had a opportunity to test drive the other day. That has it across the state. So they have every municipality included in that. And then so Oregon City is lumped into Portland. And so, but by neighborhood, they quantify each neighborhood and their canopy coverage and relative, which ones are more canopy than others. So they specify by neighborhood.
So this information is already out there.
It's not public yet.
It's not. So is it the kind of thing where like once it comes out, like all of this area is going to have that information already?
All the state ones have.
Oh, wow.
So they're just like, dotting the I's and crossing the T's and making sure that the web tool is exactly what they're looking for. But they let me test drive it the other day so that I can see like where Oregon City's at, just for interest and kind of be their guinea pig. But there are free tools like that you can get like a high level view. It wouldn't give you park by park analysis.
But it'd be a lot more current than what we have right now, which was years old.
Right, and it's coming from like an expert
Yeah.
state level service, so.
What does the city need to provide in terms of resources?
Computer, internet.
What other metrics do they, is it just total like canopy cover, or do they look at, are there any other things that they're looking at?
That's a good question. I'd be curious if you're also looking at like relative at the demographics as well. But I think at my basic knowledge, which is limited since it's not my tool, but is it's just looking at canopy coverage, relatively speaking.
Is it like a percentage, not like
Right. So like how well does it meet the recommendation, like the national recommendation is like 33% coverage in a city. And then they broke down each neighborhood and say like, how well does this neighborhood, what's that canopy coverage like? How close is that to the standard or the ideal recommendation canopy across that geographic area? And then they broke it down for different neighborhoods and everything.
Are you still there at any point?
So, I mean, it's very generalized. So it doesn't go by park by park. We can see like where major parks are in the city and say like, okay, here's a simple gap analysis. Here's the metrics for this neighborhood. We can prioritize this neighborhood for specific work. And if that's acceptable among other features of the tool, like reporting metrics that the tool can provide for you and just spit out a report, you would get more detail that way. But if that is acceptable for this initiative, then we wouldn't need to spend a dime. So that's why I'm kind of throwing it back to you, like, what are you looking for in a canopy assessment that this tool doesn't provide? And if we need more than that, if we need park by park, then we'll probably need a grant to do that consulting.
Well, I like that.
At one point, I think it was like talk of like you're trying to find like the trees. So for like FEMA reimbursement when Emerald Ash for like, you know, when those trees aren't here anymore, like to get something. So that was the only time that I remember being like specific, requiring something more specific. We can talk about, although of course there are a lot of other applications. That would be nice to have.
Oh yeah, no. One day I'm sure like somebody's training a LiDAR engine to like find ash trees just with imagery, because they've been doing that with oaks, mapping oaks that way. But they haven't done it with ash. It sounds like yet.
It hasn't gone live yet, the tool.
No, it's not live yet.
Yeah.
And I have like, it's cool. Like I've been asking them like, when is that tool coming? And I can look at it. They're like, here's that. You can look at it. Like, it's not. I can't share it with you.
There's like all these cool maps I didn't know about, like the one on the website, the GIS ones, of the where you can show in the year. Like that's really cool. There's 2 maps available there. Yeah.
So yeah, that is another item talking about ash trees. So Emerald Ash Borer has been spreading closer to Oregon City. I don't know if we have had any positive.
Yeah, no, the Parks is aware of it. Scott Archer is aware. We got an email from ODF about it, and they said we're going to come and talk to your Parks and Public Works staff and let you know what's next from the state. And in the meantime, there is a quarantine. Scott's being much more responsive about this than Kendall Reed was, which is good. Appreciate that. And then Tom is also very concerned about it as well, which is one of the main reasons he thought the canopy assessment was necessary, was just to identify where the ashes are. Vance Walker, who's our Public Works Operations Director under Dana, so he's responsible for the storm streets and water crews, has already started in looking at the city storm ponds for ashes, and he knows we do have ashes. So he's already started his cruise looking at that. But we do want to coordinate the assessment with parks as well. So
usually what my understanding is of canopy assessments is it's looking at coverage.
it's just coverage. It's
It's
not
not looking
identifying
at
species. Yeah. Yeah.
So it's gonna like delineate what's a tree and what's not a tree
Yeah.
and where that gap is.
Right. Yeah.
And then compare that geographically with other areas of the city. So you're like, well, there's plenty of canopy, Valleyville, and then this has very little canopy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's what the canopy.
Totally different trust. Yeah.
So it's not an
It's not an image.
it won't address or help us with Emerald Ash Borer mitigation.
Yeah.
So if that's understood,
Yeah.
then we can get far with some other grants.
Yeah.
Or this tool.
Yeah.
Once up.
Yeah. Understand.
All right, any other questions, comments about the city commission goals? Teresa USA, do you need us for?
No, kind of planning still gonna do that.
Are we gonna have a
Mm.
celebration? Because we didn't get one last year, is my understanding. Or maybe I did.
Oh, the Arbor Day was so small. It was that you were there.
I went? Okay.
Were you? No, you weren't.
Yeah, so I just want to make sure that I'm there next time.
I thought we invited you.
I don't know what happened.
We were over at Hillendale Park, and it was the mayor and Tom and me and like 3 other people, and that was it. It was a Saturday.
Yeah, I was.
It wasn't great.
And it could be a bigger
It was.
thing.
It was a small cheering ceremony. And it wasn't my favorite tree that they planted.
Big plan.
Oops.
An ash tree?
It wasn't a name.
Okay, good. If you're planting ash
It was
trees,
a red
still,
sunset
you
name.
know. All right, so put a note for whoever's planning Tree City celebration to
Yes,
make it a bigger thing, please.
agreed.
And tell Sam.
Yeah,
Planted oak.
something.
That's
Not
Not a dog.
not a dogwood, not a maple, not an ash.
Any, so I'm gonna move on to the next thing. Communications.
Yeah, let's start with committee because I need to. Let's see. Yeah. Just let me see. Well, nothing on the natural resources front other than what we've been talking about. Development seems to have slowed pretty markedly. We are doing a lot of housing permits for developments that were approved years ago, like 5 years ago. Sears Farm, up there off of Holcomb Boulevard. We're seeing a lot of middle housing development. I think we're probably, I hazard a guess, but I think we're ahead of most cities in middle housing permitting, which is duplex, triplex, fourplex, cottage clusters, townhouses. And that is not just bigger developments, but a lot of infill builders as well. So we're seeing smaller builders taking an interest in these newly permitted housing types. And I think that's a very positive thing. The historic review aspect for McLaughlin Conservation District and Kenema, City Commission is given support for planning staff to go ahead and draft some new guidelines for historic districts. And it's primarily targeting non-designated properties. So if you're in one of those conservation districts and you own a property that's not designated, there's going to be some new guidelines for what might trigger historic review. because they're seeing like properties get scraped and then rebuilt with a really big house right next to an historic designated house, and they want some parameters around it. So it's going to be a year or two before we have anything ready to adopt. From a natural resources perspective on these housing bills, there has been, what the legislature has said about trees in particular is that if you must have a clear and objective tree code. You're not allowed to have any discretion in your tree code. So we have a clear and objective tree code, but as you well know, it is not geared towards preservation of existing mature trees. It's more geared towards removal and mitigation, replacement. So there's been, along with this housing push, there's been efforts by the home builders to completely get rid of tree ordinances and have the state preempt those as well. But I don't think they're getting any traction there. A lot of pushback from cities on that, as well as pushback on all the other things that they're trying to preempt. Cultural, historic, you name it. Anyway, yeah.
Can I ask how the Riverwalk project?
Oh, yeah, thanks. Old memory banks, it's been a long day. So let's see what's going on with that. Master plan has been approved, but the Grand Ron's master plan was approved several months ago. And now they're working through public improvement engineering plans for the roadways. Now the roads on the internal part of the site are going to be built to a public standard, but they're going to be private. So they'll have public easements on them so you can go in and out, that sort of thing. And they're going to be built to a public street standard with street trees, width-wise, and sidewalks and everything like that. But they'll have more flexibility for how they fit that streets through their development. Outside of the land use process, I think you've probably seen in the news, the city was able to maintain the grant that was provided to the Willamette Falls Trust, not grant, but monies set aside for the Willamette Fall Trust for the east side of the river. And the government didn't veto it and preserved it, which is good. And then there's $12.5 million, which may be part of that, from lottery funds for improvements on the site.
On the Oregon City side?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Which was originally came like from the partnership with Metro and the county and everybody else and the state. So state lottery backed money. So that's good. It's a question of how quickly can we engineer something and spend the money on it to get it built, because the tribe has their plans that they're trying to get prioritized and that sort of thing. So, but I think a big focus of city staff and public works staff right now is getting a approvable capital project on McLaughlin for the entry to the site. I don't know what it's going to look like. Then the Riverwalk itself, the access to the falls, they're still planning to honor that and build that. So hopefully we'll see more traction on that. With these master plans, they can go up to 20 years, but then each phase comes in as a separate detailed plan. And so that they're going to be submitting those as the market allows, I see.
Okay. And then the other one was, there's the Nature Resource Excellence Center that's going in, where OSU Extension's going to build their new. I heard there's planning.
Oh, I haven't heard that. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Where?
I thought it was along where, either where the ELC is now,
Okay.
Agnes Community College campus.
Oh.
Or I thought OSU Extension was gonna put their new building along Warner Mill.
Yeah.
Where like they had like a
Yeah, and then we learned,
little shack, or not, it was like a small modest building. And they've been wanting to upgrade for years.
Oh, that, yeah, I know.
So my understanding from years ago is that they had a plan to like develop.
They did have a plan, they changed it.
Elaborate from that.
Yeah, they changed it and then they built outside in the county.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm not sure what the next phase for the county campus is. I think they're focusing on the southern end and the detention facilities. Yeah. But then they'll come back and look at those corners. They've changed their mind so many times. They said it's going to be a private retail building, that the county owns but leases to, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. That was where the OSU building was going to
right. Yeah.
And just like, well,
okay.
When you make up your mind,
there's a lot of flex. Okay.
Apply, and we'll see if it meets code. Haven't heard anything of that.
All right. Well, thanks for the update on the Riverwalk project.
Sure.
Other communications?
Did we start? Did I forget?
I think
Okay. Good. All right.
That's it.
So see you September 28th.
All right.
Or next, or no, 2 weeks from now.
2 weeks. 2 weeks.
28th, right?
Yeah.
28. 28. Oh, my. Great. Thank you. We are adjourned.
Thanks.
8:30.